And we should be live. So what's up, guys? We're gonna do another. Oh, wait. I've got this open in another tab. I'm gonna close that. Right. So another day. I really don't want to stream today. I don't know. I just feel a little tired. Like I should take a break. But let's just get our three questions done with quickly. We can do actually something that actually matters. There's a hackathon that I need to submit a project for by 12 tonight. So I'm gonna do that. And before that, I need to solve these questions. So again, I find this pattern really nice that I'm doing two questions from a topic that I want to learn. One question from a topic that I've already learned, but it's hard for me. That's recursion right now. So let us start. Right, not this, this. Stacks and queues, prefix, infix, postfix. Okay, infix to postfix. This should be a question only for geeks. Try it on GFG practice. Right. An infix expression is the form of string s. Convert this infix expression to a postfix expression. Infix expression, the expression of the form a operation b when operators between every pair of operands. Postfix expression, the expression of the form a b operation when an operator is followed for every pair of operands. Now the order of precedence is this greater than star equals to exponent greater than star equals to divide. Okay, so it's exponent uh which is greater than star, which is equal to divide, which is greater than plus, which is equal to minus. Ignore the right associativity of this. What the fuck did you just say? After converting the infix expression to postfix expression, the resultant expression will be right. This star slash right. So I got it. I don't know why I did not get it on the first read, but it's trying to say that this is higher and then star and slash are the same level, right? So this is greater than star, which is equal to slash, which is greater than plus, which is equal to minus. So these are the levels. Hmm. Okay. AB plus star plus CD this E minus. What the fuck? Exponent. This is a weird question. I need to learn what these are. So it's infix to postfix, Infix expression, the traditional method of writing an expression of the form operand operator. Oh, Dave is in the chat. Let's go. Operand operator operand, as the name suggests, here the operator is fixed inside between the operands. Example, a plus b. Here the plus operator is placed inside between the operands. Such expressions are easy to understand and evaluate for human beings. However, the computer finds it difficult to parse. Information is needed about operator precedence and associativity rules and brackets that override these rules. Hence, we have postfix and prefix notations. So, postfix operator placed right after two operands, operand operator operator. Infix, difficult to keep track of operator precedence. Postfix expression itself determines the precedence of operators, which is done by placement of operators. That is, the operator which occurs first operates on the operand. Uh-huh. So this is the solution. All right, so basically if it's a plus b, then it becomes ab plus. It's a plus b into c, and then it becomes ab c star plus, right? So we're gonna go through these one by one. Pass this in, and you do this, and then another operator. The precedence of this operator is greater than, you pop this. Oh god, take this out. Oh, so we need to go through the string one by one, right? So we go at a, add a, I need to stack with this, add a, we go to plus, we store op equal to plus, and we get b, and if there's an op, you push it right here. And C, so it becomes star, and the C is op, and if its priority is greater than this, then value pop this, add it here. And you add these here. Does this work? So for my solution, we've got an op q, and we've got a stack. So let's just test an expression. And this is the expression. Right. So A, check if op is empty. Is you pass in A. B, then you're at plus, so if it's an operator, you pass in an operator if it's empty. and then it's b, you pass it in. Like if you check if is there something in this, it is, you pop this and you add plus, and then you get a bracket. How am I supposed to do brackets? Brackets. Huh. Don't brackets have the highest associativity? Let's see. Let's say it's an operator. Right, star. We got star right here. And we got a bracket. And let's see. Is it open? Is there an operator here? Yes, there is. I need to handle the bracket differently. Uh, why am I so tired today? I didn't even do a lot. Prefix to infix, infix to postfix. Well, if I were to think how I think for this expression, what do I do in this case? I got a left and I got a right. Right, so we look at a, and then we got an op. Left equal to a, op equal to plus, right equal to b, left, right, plus, right, and these are all erased somehow. And then there's a star. Op equal to star, left equal to ab plus, left equal to ab plus, and then you've got a bracket. If it's a bracket, you somehow call this function with c star d minus c. Right, and then you pass this. CD exponential. I think you found out why we all are tired in the morning. Oh yes, that's true. I didn't take the meds yesterday though. I'm gonna take them today. That's why I'm eating this food. Right. CD and then this operator that we find is minus and then E. So it's CD. Well, I'm not taking care of any sort of operator precedence right here. CD star E minus. And then you return this here. And then you form this function. Processing is left. Look at the operator. Operator is this, and then you get another open bracket. Left is this, right is so it becomes fg plus take this on the left, make the operator star. The right operator is h. Left, right, operand I minus left, right. A, C, D. Yep, didn't care of it enough. What would I do if I was analyzing with someone? So it's AB plus star star symbol for AB. DC plus star D slash. Hmm. I have no more motivation to solve this today. Like zero. Scan from left to right. If the scan character is not put in a postfix expression. Otherwise, do the following. If the precedence of the current scan operator is higher than the precedence of the operator on top of the stack, it's empty. Stack contains this, then push current operator onto the stack. Man, I'm sleepy. I'm so sleepy. I don't think I really give a fuck. Man, fuck this. I wanna create a YouTube clone. I'm so fucking done.
server components very much in this tutorial.
So fucking done with this.
I have not yet used TurboPack. I've heard great things about it in development mode, right? So this is TurboPack for development, which is supposed to make your dev environment much faster. I would recommend selecting no for this tutorial purely because I will not be using it, right? So I cannot guarantee you how different of a project you're gonna have if you select yes. So keep it no for now. I will not be customizing my import alias. I like the add sign. If you don't know what an import alias is, I will show you that once we open up our project, but just select no for now. And there we go. Bun install will now be running and installing all of our dependencies. There we go. We now have installed our new project. As you can see, it's inside of my users and my folder was where I ran this command right here, bun.next create next app. And inside of here, we have new tube. So I can now go inside of change directory, new tube like this. And there you can see some files here. And now we're of course gonna open this up in Visual Studio Code or whatever is your IDE of choice. I would highly recommend going with VS Code simply so you can have all the same extensions as I will. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on open here and I will select YouTube, which is my newly created folder here. If you get this prompt, you can simply press yes, I trust the authors here. All right.
सुन जरा इसकी धड़कने की वजह तू है ना. All right, so this is the layout page. Uh-huh. Right. What group routes, not actually URL paths, they to help organize code better affecting the URL. Right. Now, so dashboard will be available at slash dashboard, landing will be available at slash landing, so that works. And this means that No, this is gonna be available. Just like that. So we've got the layout. We've got what did the guy name it? Oh, someone's trying to call me. Let's just name it. Let's just name it YouTube. That's nice. Right. So this is just that. And a home layout has the sidebar provider, which contains the home nav bar, home sidebar. Right. Where's the children? Main flex one overflow Y auto. Oh, why is this right? Yeah, auto flex one. What does flex one do? Entail one flex gross, flex shrink, flex basis. Right. Okay. So it's gonna take up the whole space. That's all it's trying to say. Home sidebar, home nav bar, home sidebar, class name, sidebar content, home nav bar. Voice echoing copyright is a joke. It is. It's all a joke for a guy who's not famous. We can deal with that problem once we are famous. I did. Like, there's a couple of videos of mine where someone can copyright them if they want to. It's fixed. But I had 16. Right. Flex. Got a div, menu and logo. Right. And I also need to change in my layout. God, what are these? All these mask icon. Holy shit. Favicon Next.js. How favicons work. For single websites, change the favicon symbol never only worked on one. Delete the base favicon source app. Layout.css. You don't need to put the link tag and layout next to the. I'll just instead of adding app icons appear basic web browser tabs, spawn zones, searching results. ICO, JPG, PNG, code to generate an icon, JSTS, CSX, root slash app route. Uh-huh. That's weird. App slash icon .tsx. Well, this page props slightly optimized. How are you supposed to have favicon in Next.js? Man, this is just a made up property by AI. Holy shit, bro. So I don't trust AI at all. I don't. Mhm. Icon is holy shit. This is crazy. What manifest? Pro icon has been discontinued. And wood touch bar icon has been discontinued. We don't want to clutter our project with these. Now I'm going to favicon package. Crazy, crazy, crazy. delete this. Apple Touch icon, favicon 96. Right. Next.js metadata. Firebase metadata. Starting metadata use dynamic metadata function fetch metadata requires dynamic values. Okay. Okay. Async function generate metadata. Uh-huh. Layout blocks and around. Option. Execute language file out only. Make it tag. Image response from next slash OG. Size, content type, image PNG, icon, icon. The default export function uses the following props. Holy shit. So 7 content type videos no icon on Apple icon route. I don't like this. Why is it not? Why is this so complex? Why is this so complex? I just want to add a small icon to the top of my fucking page. Get your file .ic or right. Paste them inside the public folder. Go to your app slash this file and in the top add this. Right, it's got the title, the description, icons. Icon is an array for some reason. URL, and I want to turn off AI. So what is icon? String URL, URL type, sizes, color, URL. Man, I need some water. I'll be right back. And we are back. All right, I didn't need that little break. I didn't even drink water. You know what? I don't know why I did not drink water. I got distracted. Just went to the washroom, came back, looked around. Put some music on, might bring some energy in you. Stream chat is legit dead today. It is. That's fine. Add them to your access router. What are the other ways? The next async functions. Newer Next.js app router docs. Things got a little complex with those async generate metadata functions and server components. Let's break it down. This works fine for static data. Okay, but what if we want the title favicon to change dynamically, maybe based on route params, data from a CMS, or some async logic? That's where generate metadata function comes in. Async function that you can export from any route or layout file. Okay. Lets you dynamically generate metadata, including favicons, based on page or URL. Brand equal to await this. You can title, icons, icon brand. Is that what they're doing? Right. Add an icon. favicon. Favicons only used in the apps/app segment. If you need more granularity, you can use icon. You can use icon. Add to extension.svg or the image size of the file is not determined. But in the favicon handbook. Oh God, why is there a handbook? Oh, higher Martians. Holy shit. Stop the icon generator madness. 20 plus static PNG files is to display a tiny website logo in a browser tab or a touchscreen. Yes. Obviously, a extremely short version for the browser using HTML. Progressive web app. Manifest. Manifest or web manifest. Start with the app manifest. Bigger padding season is this. The concept of favicon. Alright, I think we're entering a segment that I can clip. So we're gonna do exactly that. Favicons. How do you even so favicons, how do you pronounce them? That's what we're gonna start with.
Favicon.
Favicon. That's the Indian English.
Favicon.
Favicon. It's the American pronunciation.
Favicon.
Favicon. Favicon. Whatever the fuck. Right. So the concept of favicon, which is short for favorite icon, has been around since the early 2000s. We've all seen those cute little images in our browser tabs, which help us differentiate our open websites. So these tabs, right? These small little icons. Even Apple, which has always had some kind of aesthetic beef with icons that don't come from Cupertino, downplaying favicons in Safari for years, has finally given up and now properly displays them across all of its devices. If you have a public-facing website, it has to have a favicon. Sadly, what users perceive as one icon is actually a lot of them. It's common to offload the grueling task of generating these files for an ever-growing list of screens and devices to favicon generator tools. No one in their right mind would ever want to spend hours creating them by hand. We're here to build websites after all, not to make browser vendors happy. Right. These are a list of all the favicons that these guys generated for a single website. And so you've got websites like these, real favicon generators that can help you create your favicon. So if oh, this is a really nice website. I haven't explored this. Right, so you just pick an icon. I'm gonna pick this. I already have one from here. Like just get this here. You drop it in here, and now, right, see, light theme, dark theme, use it as is, add a white background, change the brightness, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. An Apple Touch icon. So this looks shitty, right? Add this and it looks nice, right? Now this looks shitty. Add this and it looks okay. Change the background color to maybe something that, see, something that's the complementary of red. What's the complementary of red? I think purple. It's not. Let's see. Complementary color of red. It's green. It's gonna look real shitty because you're not used to seeing the YouTube logo like this. But well, it's supposed to be complimentary, and I think it looks fantastic. It does not. It does not. Windows Metro and MacBook Touch Bar icons, these have been discontinued, so they won't let you do anything with them. Now this is gonna generate everything, so and then you can use them however you want. with .ASP.NET Core. I don't even know what grunt is. Gulp. What are these? Node CLI, Node.js, Ruby on Rails, Next.js, React, whatever you want. Right. What? It's Apple mobile web app title content equal to my website. In the head section. I have no idea what these are doing, but I don't want to look at that. Right now, we're gonna focus on favicons. As a creator of Nano ID and a proponent of minimalistic open source, I tend to think slightly different of that. I tend to think in a slightly different direction. What is the most efficient set of web icons? Which formats are outdated? Which icon types can be replaced with small compromises? I set out to create a minimal list of favicons that will work in all cases, barring some edge cases, and even then, this will still work, just not 100% perfectly. The ultimate setup. Instead of creating many images, I decided to rely on SVG and browser downscaling. If you're concerned about performance, I'm here to set the record straight. Browsers download favicons in the background, so a bigger favicon image does not affect website performance. SVG is a great way to reduce image sizes for images that aren't supposed to be bitmaps in the first place. For many logos, the resulting file will be much smaller than a PNG. With just 3 PNG images in this minimum set, you can use advanced tool to optimize their sizes. This solves a problem for internet users that don't have unlimited data plans. Now I'll reveal the minimal set of icons that I came up with during my research and practice. 1. Favicon.ico for legacy browsers. .ico files actually have a directory structure and can pack files with different resolutions. I recommend sticking to a single 32 by 32 image unless the one you have doesn't downscale well to 16 by 16. In that case, you can ask your designer, whatever, don't get smart with the folder and cache busters. Website should have favicon on this slash .ico, the website .ico, right? Some tools like RSS readers just request slash favicon.ico from the server and don't bother looking anywhere else. We need sizes equal to 32 by 32 for link to .ico file in order to fix the Chrome bug where it chooses an ICO file over an SVG. Got it. So a favicon.ico file for legacy browsers, and then a single SVG icon with light/dark versions for modern browsers. SVG is a vector format that describes curves instead of pixels. You know what an SVG is, you can just like it, you can't, it's not made of pixels, it's just shapes and how their relative distance is to each other. And at large sizes, it's more efficient than raster images. As of this writing, 72% of all browsers support SVG icons. Your HTML page should have a link tag in its head with rel is equal to icon type equal to image slash svg plus xml, and with the href containing a link to the svg file as attributes. It's an XML format that can contain a style, can contain media queries, with prefers color scheme dark. This will allow you to toggle the same icon between light and dark system themes. That's really nice. 180 by 180 PNG for Apple devices. Apple Touch icon is an image that Apple devices will use if you add the web page as a shortcut to your home screen or on an iPhone or iPad. Your HTML page should have link rel equal to Apple Touch icon inside head. Since iOS 8 plus iPads have required an image with a 180 by 180 resolution, other devices will downscale it, but if we provide the source with a high and enough quality, the downscaling won't hurt the end users. I'll come back to this later. An Apple Touch icon will look better if you place a 20px padding around the icon and add some background color. You can use any image editor to do this. Add some background color, okay. Web app manifest with 192 by 192, 512 by 512 PNG for Android devices. And I'm getting a call and I need to tell my sister that I am streaming. Right. Web app manifests for Android devices. It's a JSON file containing all details for a browser to install your website as a system application. This format comes from Google via its PWA initiative. That's something real nice and interesting that I want to get into. Like at least create a few projects with it. Your HTML page should have a link. Really go to manifest href path.web manifest tag with a link to the manifest file. The manifest should have an icon field that links to three icons: 192 for home screen, 512 maskable icon for Android launchers, 512 which will use a splash screen while the PWA is loading. Maskable icon should have a bigger padding around the icon so it can be cropped by the launcher to fit its design. Did we forget anyone? There are, of course, more favicon flavors out there, some of them quite obscure, so let's see how our setup fares with them. Maybe it's time to say farewell to some of the less successful formats. Windows style icon, the one in Windows 8, that's obsolete. Safari pinned icon. Safari formerly had a requirement of SVG monochrome icons for pinned tabs. Since Safari 12, you can use regular favicon icons. Even Apple.com doesn't use the mask icon anymore. Well, you go to shortcut. Outdated tutorials will include a favicon.ic into HTML like this. Shortcut icon, this. We want that it is not and never has been a valid link relation. Really? That's that's just amazing. We never needed shortcuts, and why rel equal to icon is just fine. Opera Coast. Oh, that is an experimental browser for iOS. Now, that is all the compatibility stuff that you would have to do. How to build an ultimate favicon set. Right, prepare the SVG. Be sure that the SVG image is a square. Open it in your system. Check the image width and height. In Inkscape, you can change it. Yada yada yada. Save it as an icon.svg. Now let's fiddle with our SVG and make it play well with modern system themes. For BMW logos, you just change black to white. Now open your SVG file in text editor. Find a path with dark or missing fill. Add a CSS media query that will trigger on theme changes and change fill to the colors you want. Okay. So right, I have this SVG. But what if I wanna look at the text? Open with live server, open with, man, I don't know. Maybe if I cd into it, favicon, right, I can. I'll just do vim. Right, so that's the SVG. Select with width height, this fill equal to this, and there's a media query. At media prefers color scheme dark. Then the style tag. Where does the style tag start? I can't see style. Right, there it is. It starts right here. Prefers color scheme light, root, filter no. What? Ath class is equal to A. I think I need to, right. A, and then right here we can do media Prefers color scheme dark. Root filter none. I have no idea what this is doing. But if I is this valid CSS? I don't know. Dot a fill equal to at f2056. What is that color? Hashtag ff2056. That is a very, oh no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm just changing I'm changing this color. I don't want to change this color. I want the background color. So you stay the same. And I'll ask ChatGPT if this is valid CSS afterwards. Man, is this how you write CSS? Root dot this. No, you don't add commas. I can't yank and paste. Okay, on this. Good catching, no. Background should be background. Turns about commas. Use this after each property. Wrong idea. Background white. Document HTML not a visible background area. Body of some content not root. So it should be body background white filter none. Right. See, ChatGPT is nice with this stuff. Uh-huh. I don't know if I need to background black body background white. Now body with a colon. You pasted two copies of the same SVG, one after another, not needed unless you want two logos. Right, I don't know, might have, I think yeah, I did that. I'm so reliant on these. So this should be correct. Just this. Gotta remove this. Gotta remove this and this. And now we should have a fully working SVG with both dark and light themes. Almost perfect. No typos, corrections, CSS, one line nested SVG inside another SVG. Mm-hmm. XMLNS, this, then rect, math. So this is incorrect. What the fuck? This, how do I have a nested SVG, bro? This is new boxes. Alright, fuck it. I'm just gonna copy this. Oh god. Okay, we go 20 lines up. Ugh. So is this changed? Can't favicon. Right. So it's got a body background black and a body background white. Uh-huh. That took a lot of time, a lot more than it should have. And then you may also use this media query with the SVGs to add wide gamut P3. No, I don't want to create an ICO file. GIMP, it's a free platform. Set it to raster, 32 by 32. Right, scale the image down to 16 by 16. Check icon visibility. If it has become too blurry, it will never be better. It would be better to ask your designer for a custom tiny version of the logo. Export the file, convert this into this. Okay. You can use image magic. Create PNG images. Open your source SVG. Create a 512 by 512 image. Export it as icon 512. Scale the image to 192, icon 192. Scale the image itself to 145 by 140. Export as Apple Touch icon. So all after you've done all of these, optimize PNG and save the SVG files. The best tool for optimization is SVGO. Run it. Right, set 64 colors. Add the icons to HTML. You need to add links into your HTML. Create an index.html. Right, so this is where your links come in and the sizes come in. I got it now. Bonus tip. All these links. Use copy webpack plugin without adding a hash file. Create a separate icon for staging. Staging one. I find that using an alternative icon for staging is super effective in avoiding any costly cases of confusion. Favicon dev.ico, but invert the colors or do something that makes sense to you. Right. So you can just, okay, yeah. Create a web manifest. For static HTML, create a JSON named manifest.webmanifest, source, 5 sizes, link it. Thank you for reading. Right, so this was the Favicon handbook straight from Next.js's website, right? If you go down here, look at the favicons you can see this, the Favicon handbook. And now you know everything about favicons, just like I do now. That's nice. I'm gonna leave the link for this in the description and you can go check it out for your next project. So right, back to the stream. I go to globals.css, no need for that. Layout.tsx icons, icon has it on my phone. This is honestly such, I had no idea that favicons were such a big thing. Right, I'm turn the AC on. All right, we're back. Just get this back on. All right. So we've got classic Favicon ICO, and I got these. These are the Harry Potter versions. You may see them. Right. So we got these. I can put this on my forehead and I think that's what it is, the scar. And this here is the snitch. The snitch. This here is the snitch. Isn't that fun? Hmm. Right. So the scalable SVG right here. Hmm. This is correct. This does not exist, right? Like we learned. We got this. We get this size as any, and then shortcut. This is a shortcut. This is correct. The iOS home screen. This is correct too. Icons are slide.web manifest. Works. Mask icon. Alright, you don't need that. Icon URL. Holy shit. What else can icon be? It's an array of icons, icon shortcut Apple other. We used icon shortcut Apple other. Right. Uh-huh. Works. And now, if everything's okay, these should be motherfucker. How do I hard reload without cache? Safari on fifth hour. I'm pretty sure this is just a cache thing. Um, Move your icon to the app directory, just rename it. No, it's fine. I'm 100% sure it's a caching issue. I've seen this in the past. So I'm gonna ignore this for now. Right. We were exploring the project. And this is the layout. Tries to access page.tsx here. But before it can, it has to go through the layout. We've got a home layout and a div that says my child that shows up right here. My child. Let's take a look at the home layout. It's got a sidebar provider from ChatCN and right, a full div. I'm gonna close these. Like a sidebar provider, a home nav bar. Okay. Mm-hmm. Got the minion logo sidebar trigger. This is a sidebar trigger. Oh, okay. Link. The logo, right? Got a gap 4-bit full. And it's got item center. Mm-hmm. Search bar. Flex 1, flex. Justify center. Where's the this is the parent div, right? Flex item center gap bit full. How are these aligned? I don't see any property. That's weird. And I'm assuming this just takes up the whole space. And just because it's got items under it, essentially, yeah, does exactly that. Flex 1, they're aligned because of flex 1. And I'm getting a call. Bro should be in chat. Dude, show me the monitor. Get these from? Oh, what happened? It's just my face for a while now, isn't it? Ever since I ate those. Oh God. Thanks for noticing. You're the real one. You're the real homie out here, looking at me while I'm in the ditches. Right, so this is the search input. Yeah, I just looked at the chat. I don't know why. I don't know why I closed the chat and I forget to open it again. Such a weird thing to do. It's got a form, it's got a button, search icon, submit button, yada yada yada, disabled opacity 50, disabled question not allowed. We don't have an on submit right here. Mm, div input type text, focus outline none, add remove search button. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Right, this works and this works too. It does nothing though. It's just a type submit. So that's my search input. Here's my auth button. Button user circle icon sign in button. Button does nothing. So that's the home layout. Home nav bar. I've got the trigger all the way inside here. Text PT4 from home sidebar. Sidebar content class name BG background. If I put in hi there, then this should show up right here. Yes, it does. It does. Mm-hmm. Main class name, children. Can we remove that hi there from there? I am looking at chat. Okay, so I guess now I remember where I was. Layouts. Oh, this is such a long path. And I installed all of the components from ChatCN. Just gonna take a look at ChatCN sidebar on their website. So I'm sure I understand how it works. Right, this animation is a part of it. Okay. Sidebar group, sidebar content, sidebar header, sidebar footer, sticky. Use sidebar hook is used to control the sidebars. Sidebar header going to add sticky header to the sidebar. Okay, so these are all sidebar components. Sidebar header, sidebar content, sidebar group, sidebar footer, sticky. This is the sidebar, entire sidebar. The header, content, footer. Got it. Got it. And we can close all of these. I'm using all of them. I'm not, but let's just not bother with that. Right. So we're here and project setup, basic layout.
Also known as the root layout. And inside here, I just added the types. What we have to do is we have to mark this entire component as an asynchronous component. And we have to give this a proper global first breakdown. So this is our root page. What it's being passed.
Right.
But here's
I think I'm gonna disable the video's audio.
what it's useful for. It's inside of page.ts and render it out here. So we can easily just by doing, params, yes, and I give the video ID, params not video ID. Let's see if this will work. There we go. So you can see that it works, but in case it doesn't work for you, don't worry. It probably means that Next.js has officially deprecated this. It works, and it's great, right? We use params, not video ID. Params should be updated whenever you're using dynamic APIs, which are params, source params, cookies, graphical headers, any of those things. You need to await those things. So this is what we have. I think we're deeper. This works, right? Params.id. It's literally the exact thing we're doing. Params on how you should do it. So how you can fix it is this is their solution. If well, if you're a title project, it's for you. We don't need that. What we need to do is learn how to properly parse this. So what we have is our issue I just added, which returns an object of video. And now we are getting the same error here. To know what you're doing.
Create an amazing function. You waited and then you create. Right.
The asynchronous using the component Next.js before. Well, that's because this is actually this component. Now, I think you just have more questions. Refresh this. So see that here it makes by comment, but as use client, sequence components. Client components cannot do this dynamic API routes. They can do it, but they have to use the right. If you want to use elements, Next.js
Just a second. हाँ दे दो स्ट्रीम कर रहा हूँ चलेगा
is another page like right here, which doesn't use dynamic API. Uh,
so that just happened I forgot to close the door
we start to leverage the server so you can actually see what you're using. That's the best way to do it, right? I can theorize about what's some really long, but until you actually see what you're used for, I think only then it's going to be free. So you don't get to find this physical article. Right? This is your first time with Next.js, only one server point. So let's go back inside of feed page.ts and let's change our URL to go to the feed component. There we go. Apologies, this one, feed page. There we go. And inside of here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do console log where am I rendered. So server will do where 1 to 3, right? And you would literally be able to render. You want to do this.
yes that's our component
That you're used, right? So I'm kind of introducing you to certain components now. I promise I'm going to go deeper into this in the actual chapter dedicated to this. So let's go ahead and first remove this and just write feed page back. So what I want to show you before we actually go and build our layout is that if I add use client here, server, and you cannot see it, well, you can still see it here. Let me just add some space here and then refresh. Oh, looks like you can still see it here. Okay, I did not expect that. I thought it was not going to be rendered when it's in use client here, but looks like it is. Okay, but you can clearly see that no longer says server. What can you do when it's in use client? Well, you can do things like use effect, right? Use effect is something that you would not be able to do in a client component. So I'm going to console log this inside in the terminal of the server because this use effect runs exclusively on the client, right? But if I remove use client, what's going to happen is you're going to get an error. Your brief introduction to the server is ended 11. Actually keep the video ID and let's into the feed here and go ahead and add a layout. But just make sure you added this instead of the feed folder. What's going to happen now is that if you go inside of slash feed, it's just a render props will always add a show thing. Same layout props. The purpose is a div here and say I am a also appear here. So will be our layout component, right? This part right here. All this is our layout.
got it
and the rest is going to be so this is all over like this. Now what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Sorry, I'm going to close my terminal. Basically, I don't want my app to be running just because I don't want to confuse my pop reload. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy page.tsx, right? So I recommend you copy it as well. You can also move it, but then you're going to cause some, well, let me show you. If you move it right here, click move, you're going to get this update imports for page.tsx. You can press yes for this if being asked, and then you're going to have this weird unsaved file coming from .next/types/app. That's basically what's going on here. This is just cache. The cache, if this happens to you, you will see one unsaved. Make sure it's the one in .next folder/types/app. If you click on it, you can go inside and save the file and close it. If you think you've done something wrong, don't worry at all. So ensure that you have moved the page.esx, which was the root of the app folder. You should now have it moved instead of home, which is written inside of parentheses. Very important. Make sure it's written inside of parentheses. And just for fun, let's remove the .next folder, not any other app. Let's rebuild the entire thing. So .next folder cancel. And you should still see, it's because Next.js that this part, this but don't want to make an entire one is only accessible when you literally go to /home. Right. If you want to structure route groups, like here's route groups are nested folders. So in the app directory, nested folders are normally mapped to the URL paths. That's what we just learned with our feed, right? However, you can mark the folder as a route group to prevent the folder from being included in the URL path. They are useful for organizing routes into group, like site section, intent, or team, right? In our case, home is a site section, it's a home feed, right? And the cool thing is you can still do the layout file inside of it. So if I go ahead and create layout.tsx, it's only going to refer to my routes inside of this route group. That's why I wanted to put it here. Keep in mind that this layout is a different thing. This is a root layout. You cannot.
Just a second.
our home layout. So let's go ahead and select the interface layout props. Give it a children React node. Let's go ahead and create a const layout here. Let's assign the props and the structure the children. Inside of here, let's just render the children and let's export default layout. There we go. Nothing should change right now. If I go to localhost 3000, I should still see YouTube 2 on this page right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build our home layout. But this is the decision that I will make now. But let me show you what I mean. I'm now going to create another folder instead of my source folder, which I'm going to call modules, like this. And instead of modules, I'm going to go ahead and create another folder called home. And inside of here, another folder called UI. You already see what I'm doing. I'm going to have a modules folder where I'm going to have my sections, my intents, my themes, basically whatever I need. And I'm going to use these modules to store my components, my hooks, my API, my server, my utils, anything in. And then I'm going to use it as I need inside of the You already see what I'm doing. I'm going to have a modules folder where I'm going to have my sections, my intents, my themes, basically whatever I need. And I'm going to use these modules to store my components, my hooks, my API, my server, my utils, anything in. And then I'm going to use it as I need inside of the router here. But the router itself is not going to have this. I'm not going to have any styles inside of page.tsx. I'm not going to have any styles inside of layout. The layout will simply.
Right, that's what he decided to do. He could have just created all of this inside that folder. That's completely fine, as long as he doesn't name it special names like page.tsx or layout.tsx or loading.tsx. You can just create anything, any page, and use it right then and there. That's also a way of keeping all your files for a single component in a single directory, so it's easier to organize. But here he chooses to create another folder called modules.
To render the children. So this is what we're going to do now. Inside of our modules home UI, we're going to go ahead and create a new folder called layouts. And inside of here, we're going to create a home-layout.tsx. Let's go ahead and let's copy the interface from here. We can actually copy the entire thing like this. The only difference is that our components, like home layout, are going to use the exports like this. This needs to be a default export because Next.js expects it to be a default export. But for our own modules and components, we don't have to do that, and I prefer this one. Let's go ahead and be a bit more specific with our name here. Instead of the generic layout, this will be a home layout, like this. But now we're going to run into a bit of an issue here. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do what I just did previously. I'm going to create some kind of a navbar here, right? Home navbar. And if I go ahead and refresh this, my apologies, not yet. I have to go inside of my home route root layout here, and I have to import home. You can see it says home navbar. Now I'm going to attempt to show you something, but I'm not exactly sure if it will fail like I expect it to or not. And there we go. You can see that something is obviously wrong.
Right.
My pattern works.
I remember this because he's using Tailwind
already
v3
What's the correct expression? Use DG boot.
and Tailwind v4 has all of this like configured internally, so you don't need to do any of this. You're just gonna skip through this.
You can always add it manually. I would recommend, again, running the command the home layout with the sidebar provided. Now for this step right here, we're going to give it a class name of full width, like this. And then inside of here, we're actually going to render our home number. Let's move the children inside this div. And let's go ahead and encapsulate our children in a div here. So I'm just adding some semantics here. We are going to populate this. And then let's open another folder called home navbar. Inside of home navbar, let's add index.tsx file. And I'm going to export const home navbar. And I will return a div home navbar. The reason I have opened a folder for this and an index.tsx and not just home navbar.tsx is because it's going to have some subcomponents, right? So I just want to keep them all together. That's the only reason why. If this was a simple component, I would just write the name of the component.tsx in case you're wondering. Great. Now let's import the home navbar from .components home navbar.
Main section tsx.
You can see this, but then remember you have to do the modules.
This for some reason has a lot of stuff I have no idea about. Right, I was just trying to set it up. Okay, got it.
UI, right? But since you are already inside of here, I think it's just nicer to just use this. Right? So now you should see home number again. There we go. Now let's go ahead and let's properly style this home number. Instead of using a div, it's going to use a nav element. Let's give the class name of x.0. Line this on this side, this in the middle, and this here. I'm going to add this in this div. It's going to be a gap of 4 or 16 pixels and a full width. Now inside of here, we're going to render menu and logo. The menu will be sidebar trigger from components UI sidebar like this here, and flex shrink 0. So this, which is basically regardless of our resolution. And now we're going to add a link component from next link, which is basically like this. Let's see them. So we have the current state, which is that they are 1 bit. And now let's go ahead and give this name to the class. One issue that you can probably see here is this little icon, which is obviously different than from what I have here. We're going to fix that in a moment. I want to continue, developing this so that we can actually see what this button is doing, and then I'm going to show you how to change what this button looks like. Great. So what we have to do now is we have to add our search bar, right? So find where this div ends, right? This div, which is our menu and logo. And now what we're going to add is our search bar. Okay, let me just add it here. This. Now, functionality div input. So don't ask with to do. Put here, for now, this will not have any functionality, just the UI. Right. Don't use the, and let's make it pretty by giving it bold width, padding left of 4, so we leave some space for the icon, right? Because we are going to have, and you can see, grade 100, border on the left side is going to be 0, because it will directly click. In case it's disabled, opacity will be 50, and disabled will also say cursor not allowed, like this. And inside here, we're going to use the search icon from Lucid. There we go. Make sure you have added this import. If you're wondering where does this package come from, it comes from Shazam, right? In case you don't have it, you can do one add Lucid React or npm install Lucid React. Here's my version example, but you will most certainly have this installed. And let's give this class name of size 5. There we go. Perfect. So we have our search component right here, but we are missing a couple of things, and we're not going to develop them now. Instead, I'm just going to add to do. So to do, add the search button like this, and to do, add search functionality. For now, we are only worried about the UI. Great. Now let's go back inside of our home navbar index here. And what we're going to do now is the out button. So let's add a div here. My class name, and gap 4. And let's create the components folder like this. And inside we're going to have .ps like this. Let's export const out button here. And now what we're going to do is very simply we're going to add a button from components UI. Here is because it makes more modules of UI icon almost React, and a text is sign in like this. I will
Even is this, bro?
This, and let's import this out button from modules of UI to the out module rather than it belonging to the home module. You can make first a different decision for yourself if you want to. Great, so we have a button here, but line. Do is we're going to modify the size of this SVG right here. You guys thinking, can I just do this? You cannot, unfortunately. That's because if you go deep inside the button component here, you will notice that it actually changes the SVG size like this. Right? So if you want to change this size 5, right, what you have to do is you have to use that same target decorator, SVG, and then size 5, for example, if you want to make it bigger. But I think size 4 is actually okay, so you can just leave it like this. There we go. Now,
that's a new thing I
know. Much better. Great. So, the UI for our navbar. And now we have to do the same thing for the sidebar. I will just add different out states, right? Because we currently, well, this out button is not really useful at the moment. It's not really doing anything, but that will change. So we are now pretty much wrapped up with the UI when it comes to our home navbar right here.
Yeah, we are.
And what we can do is go back inside the home layout here, and we should actually find a place to render our home sidebar. Let's go ahead and give this div, which is encapsulating our children, a class name, flex, minimum height of 3, and a point top of 4 rim, just like this. So now, as you can see, we have moved our body, which was hidden behind the navbar. It's now being pushed right here. Great. So now, let's also render the home sidebar here and encapsulate our children inside of the main element. And let's give the main element a class name of flex1 and overflow y auto, like this. And now let's focus on developing the home sidebar. So basically, there's just some semantics to make this content behave properly when it's encapsulated in between the navbar and sidebar. Right? Those are these flexes, overflow y, autos, and all of those things right here. And the reason we are doing padding up for RAM is because that translates to 64 pixels. And if you go inside the home navbar and hover over here, the height of our navbar is 64 pixels. So what we're doing is we're pushing the entire content below the navbar for the height of that navbar. So that's why our content is now visible, right? Previously, it was hidden behind. Let's go ahead inside of our components and let's create a new folder, home sidebar. And inside of home sidebar, let's create an index.tsx component like this. Inside here, let's export on home sidebar.
Uh-huh.
And let's look at a sidebar components from components UI sidebar. Make sure you don't accidentally import the icon from this video. Let's give the sidebar a class name of padding top 16, the same next to 40 and border none. Like this, class name of pad and mounts. But we can clearly see that something has pushed our content right here. And you can see that also when I click on this icon, I can collapse our sidebar. So before we when it changes to any of this, what I'm going to do is I actually want to go to the home sidebar and I want to add my first section, which will be the main section, like this. And the main section will be another component which we're going to import inside of the home sidebar here. Create a new file, main-section.tsx, like this. And this will most certainly be a client component, and the main section will be that also when I click on this icon, I can collapse our sidebar. So before we do any changes to any of this, what I want to do is I actually want to go to the sidebar and I want to add my first section, which will be the main section.
Right. Okay. So now we've caught up. Basically, I started this project, I think, about a month ago, maybe less, not more than a month ago. And I wanted to do this for so long, but I just could not. I did not have the time for it. I don't even have the time for it today. I mean, I'm not done with my data structures and algorithms, and I need to do at least 3 questions. But man, fuck it. I've been wanting to do this for so long.
And the main section will be another component which we're going to import inside of the home sidebar here. Create a new file, main-section.tsx, like this. And this will most certainly be a client component because we're going to be using some hooks. So we need
And we're gonna create, right, we're gonna create a new main section or tsx.
turn this to a client component. And now let's go ahead and let's prepare const items here. It's going to be an array of items. The first item will be a title which says home. It's going to have a URL of / and an icon of home icon from Lucy app, like this. And that's where we're going to build our items. The next one will be subscriptions, which will lead to /subscriptions, actually /e/subscriptions, like this, with an icon of plain square icon, again from Lucy app. So that's going to be our second one. And we're also going to add a useful little word here, alf, true. We're going to use this later. It's going to be useful for us. Basically, this page will only be rendered to authorized users because this will be used to load videos from your subscriptions. If you're not logged in, you don't have any subscriptions, right? And this one will be trending. So feed trending. And this will have flame icon, also from Lucidity. And alf is not going to be required for this one. Great. So now let's export const main section here. Let's return sidebar group and implement UI sidebar. Sidebar group content and sidebar menu. So make sure you have all of this sidebar group content, and menu. But while we are here, we can also add sidebar menu button, and we can add sidebar menu item, like this. So make sure you have all of this, like just collapse it. Sidebar group content, and menu. But while we are here, we can also add sidebar menu button, and we can and
Group content and menu. Right, just like we saw on the Shatsian website.
sidebar group content, and menu. But while we are here, we can also add sidebar menu button, and we can add sidebar menu item. Like this. So make sure you have all of this and just collapse that so you can see it. Nice. There. Instead of the sidebar menu right here, what we're going to do is we're going to iterate over our items. Get the individual item. And then inside of here, render the sidebar menu item with the key go item. And then inside of here, render the sidebar menu item with the key
And on the
title because each title is unique, so we can safely use it as a key. And let's render the sidebar menu button with the key.
Okay. I thought I was just going to use the index of somewhere, which you should not do.
Get the individual item. And then inside of here, render the sidebar menu item with the key of item.title because each title is unique, so we can safely use it as a key. And let's render the sidebar menu button. Like this. Let's give this a tooltip of item.title. Let's give it an as child. Let's go ahead and give it an is act.
So the tooltip is item dot title. And as child prompt. What does the as child prompt do? I forgot.
Yes, listen. Let's give it an as child.
Teach me what the as child prompt does. Many components accept a special prop called as child. It changes how the component renders instead of rendering their own default elements. Like, so what does as child do? Right, it changes how the component renders. It's usually found in libraries like Chatscene and Radix UI. And instead of rendering their own default element like a button or div, they render whatever child you give them directly without adding extra tags. Okay, so right, they don't add any extra tags. So for example, in this case, it's got a sidebar menu button, it's got a tooltip as child, and whatever given here, it's gonna render that item.
Let's go ahead and give it an is active to be explicitly
Got it.
false. I'm gonna
Why does this matter? Props like href type, etc. You want full control over them, setting in behavior without being docked inside someone else's default button or div. Got it. They use a library called slot to do this. Launch a child element, injects props like last name, on click, etc. without wrapping it. You can make buttons behave like links. You can wrap modals, popovers easily. Better accessibility and better SEO using a rear A tag for navigation. Got it.
change this component, and on click for now will just be an empty arrow function.
What is active? What is active? Prop. The is active prop is not a special built-in prop in React. It's a prompt used conventionally to manually indicate if something is currently active. It controls things like current page in a navbar, selected item in a menu, open/close state of an accordion, highlighting something when active.
And inside of here, we're going to use our link, next link, like this, with an href going to item.url. And then inside, we're going to render item.icon like this, and a span item.title. Let's give this some stuff.
Oh.
Files. So this will have a class name of flex items. My apologies, flex. Then items.send gap-4. And this span here will have a going to render item.icon like this, and a span.
I did not know you could do that.
Title. Let's give this some styles. So this will have a class name of flex items. My apologies, flex. Then items.send gap-4. And this span here will have a class name of text small, like this. So that's our main section. Let's go ahead and import our main section from ./main section. And now you should be able to see all subscriptions and trending right here, which are all from our items, as you can see here. Great. So now what I'm going to do,
Export const main section. I need to home sidebar. Wait, this. What is it called again? Main section. Right. Oh god, my back hurts. Main section. I do see them.
yes, as you can see here, right here, which are all from our items, as you can see here. Great. So now what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to go ahead and add a little to do, change
How do you view comments in Git log? 31st March. It's almost April 26th. So yeah, it took me more than a month. That's or do I have a repository already? 2 hours stream done. Really? It's been 2 hours. Ah, we copy this. Get remote, add the origin, and I forgot to name it. Git branch. I'm on main already, so all right. Got this. So nice.
to look at current happening to do do something complex, right? So these are all the things that we're gonna have to do later, but for now we're just focused on the UI. Great. Now that we have the main section, we can easily build the other section which we need, which is the personal section, history, live videos, and all playlists, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and set up my home sidebar, and below the lists, right, the personal section, history, live videos, and all playlists.
Right, now we create a personal section. Current path name to see if it's active. That's one thing. And add functionality. Right. Group sidebar.
Lists, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and set up my home sidebar, and below the main section, I'm going to add a separator component from components UI set.
You know what? My lower back hurts. I'm gonna take a little break. Take a little break. I'm not gonna actually take a break. I'm really having a lot of fun making this. But I need to get off this seat.
Import this from Remix.
It might rain tonight. We will see. You talking about something tonight too. What do you think of that? I was also thinking of making making short clips from my stream and uploading them. Might get me a few more views, increase subscriber count. I don't understand why people subscribe incessantly just on the basis of clips, but people do that, so might just do that. And we had a really nice session there of exploring favicons, so I might explore like upload that as an entirely separate video. Right, that's it, and I'll see you guys next time. It's Dave in the chat. You wanna that ain't happening, that's a good idea, right? That's what I was thinking too. All right, see you guys next time.